Episode number 785. Inviting to BNI is child's play.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
Well, I'm back in Austin, Texas, Priscilla. I had to get back from the Singapore convention because I'm teaching in the MBA program now at Concordia University. I'm teaching leadership. So
That's great.
it would help if I actually show up to teach. So I had to be back here.
Okay, so who do we have on the podcast today?
We have a guest who I have had on once before, and his name is Shawn Yesner. Shawn is the owner of Yesner Law, a firm that helps its clients have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. Love that phrase. And when he started the firm in 2004, Shawn joined BNI Referral Masters in Tampa, Florida, and has been a member since then. Shawn has held almost every leadership team position multiple times and was part of the regional director consultant team and professional development team. He's also been a previous guest on BNI podcast, episode number 494, why everyone should go to leadership team training. Shawn, welcome back to the official BNI podcast.
Thank you, Ivan. I appreciate the opportunity and keeping up my streak. I've been listening since episode number 1.
Wow, that goes way back. And I think one of those early episodes was, nobody knew what a podcast was back in 2000, what was it, 12, 14, 13, I know. 2007? Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So I think nobody knew what they were. And so one of the early ones was, I'm a baby boomer, what's a podcast? That had to be funny to listen to it, you know.
Yeah, I enjoy all of them. That's all I listen to. And I don't listen to audibles or anything else, just podcasts when I'm driving around in my car.
I'm impressed. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about this. The title is inviting to BNI is like child's play, but you have a very specific story about your child's birthday party. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so unfortunately, this lesson comes out of something that is never going to get me nominated for Father of the Year, but I can turn it into a positive. So my son just turned 11, but when he was turning, I don't know, I think 5 or 6, so 5 or 6 years ago, my wife and I had done everything for his birthday party. We had scheduled the location, we got the prizes for the kids, we got the theme, we got the cake, we did everything. We did every single thing that we needed to do for this birthday party, except we forgot one very important thing. We forgot to invite any of his friends to the birthday party. And so about a week out from this party, my wife and I start freaking out, and we start calling all of the parents of the kids that were his friends. And for every single one of them, and it was, literally we had to get in, invite, and get out. So, hey, my son is turning 5. Can you come to the party? Hey, the party is this weekend. Can you and your kid come? Hey, here's where the party is. Can you be there? And the interesting thing is, everybody that we invited said yes. Mm-hmm. And in looking back on it, that's when it kind of hit me. It was a very easy, very simple, very direct invitation. And everybody said yes. Now, you pointed out when you were introducing me, I've been in BNI now since 2004, so I'm into year, I think, 19. I'm an attorney, not an accountant, so my math may not be correct.
Yeah, it's okay. I got the number of years that the podcast is going wrong, so you're good.
There you go. So everything in my statistics, I've given referrals. I think I'm over 2 million, approaching 3 million, and thank you for closed business. I've done. I think I'm in the top 4 or 5 in my chapter in BNI Business Builder, BNI University Online, CEUs, one-to-ones. I've got all those statistics, but the one where I'm weakest is inviting. The one where I've always been weakest is inviting. And what hit me is I was overcomplicating the
Yeah.
BNI invitation.
Yeah.
And so when I started approaching people and saying, hey, I'm meeting with 80 of my referral partners, can you join us? Or, hey, I'm having a business meeting with a bunch of referral partners. Or, hey, I'm having a meeting with this specific professional who I know can pass you business. Can you join us? When I started doing the invitation like that, people started saying yes.
Yeah.
And what I did was I turned this into an educational moment also for my chapter, and a couple other chapters in my region have asked me to do it. And what I do is I say, well, here's what the birthday party invitation would sound like if I were doing it as I used to do my BNI invitation. I would say, hey, my son is having a birthday party this weekend. Now, his actual birthday was yesterday, but we have the party next week because that was the timing. And when you walk in, it's going to be at this bounce house location. And when you walk in, there'll be a table there. And when you get to the table, you've got to sign the waiver. After you sign the waiver, you'll see some bins to the right hand side. You can put his present in there, although you don't have to get him a present if you don't want to get him a present. And then you got to have your kid watch the safety video, make sure he brings socks and he's wearing socks. And then and on and on and on.
And
And
this is so. I just want to repeat what you said. This is how to. That's an example of how we overcomplicate invitations to BNI.
yeah, it would be an
Yeah.
analogy to what we would
Yeah.
do for BNI.
I
And
love it. That's very
I,
funny.
I realized when I started making the invitation simpler, and now I am Gold Club badge qualified. I don't recall exactly how many people have been inducted, but I regularly get, a couple of visitors, and I have sponsored at least a dozen or more members into BNI. And so it, one of the things you also mentioned is that I was on the professional development team here in the Tampa Bay area, and so I used to facilitate the member success program, and so I've taught the ABCs, which I think is now GRIP, the GRIP method of inviting.
Mhm.
For me, those are great techniques, but for me, simplifying it made it easier for me to make the invitation in a conversational format.
Wow, what a
And
great example that is. I love that analogy. And I think one of the things that I kind of heard there was that it's an invitation to visit rather than to join. You want
yeah,
to talk about that?
absolutely. It's an invitation to visit. I never say join. I never say any word that is join or remotely close to joining. It's just get them there and then let the meeting sell the meeting. One of the things I'm proud of in my chapter is that we are a huge chapter. I think we were over 100 at one point. We're pushing 90 at this point, and let the members in the audience sell the meeting. Let the fact that we have tens of millions of dollars of thank you for closed business on a rolling 1 year basis sell the chapter to the visitor. And you know what? If they don't join, that's okay too, because we've had plenty of visitors that have done business with members.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with everything you've said so far. I think members, new members, existing members, way overcomplicate the invitation, and it should always be about visiting, not joining. You can't talk somebody into joining something they haven't seen that is maybe a little complicated. It's not like, hey, put an ad in the newspaper. People understand what that is. If you haven't been to a BNI meeting, you don't really know what it is. So visit rather than join. And I think you wanted to talk a little bit about keeping it simple and having it flow naturally in the conversation. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, so it's that whole concept of where I always got flustered personally was when I started to use the grip method. And do you want more business? Do you rely on referrals to grow your business? It always seemed to be way too practiced for me. So when I simplified it to, do you enjoy networking? Yeah. Would you like to meet X number of business professionals, whatever the size of the chapter is, 20, 30, 50, 90, 100, whatever. Do you want to meet those business professionals? Or what I would do is if I was talking, for example, I know that our contractor, our kitchen and bath remodeling contractor, wants to meet architects. And so if I'm speaking to an architect, I can say, I have a residential contractor that I meet with every Friday morning that wants to pass you business. Can you be there? And who's going to say no to that type of
Yeah.
an invitation?
Yeah, I have one little tweak on one of the things you said. Do you like networking? Some people really don't like it, but if you tweak it by saying, "Do you get business from networking?"
Yeah.
Or yeah, that I did a survey of 12,000 people years ago. It ended up being in a book that I did, and 91% of the respondents said that they had gotten business through networking. 91%. I mean, when have you seen 91% agree to anything ever? So that's the one little tweak I would make. But otherwise, I love what you're describing.
Yeah, it's for me, it's what works. And that's what always appealed to me about the BNI system is that not only is this how to invite to the chapter, but it's also a metaphor for getting a referral for your referral partner. In other words, I'm not going to ask somebody to hire you, but if I can make the introduction and then let you sell your business, that's the referral.
Well, we're about out of time. Shawn, is there any last thought that you have before we wrap up?
Well, the one thing I did want to say last time I was on the show, I freely admitted that vice president was my favorite role on the entire leadership team. And since then, had only been on the leadership team as either a visitor host or on the membership committee. This year, our incoming president contacted me and said, "Hey, would you be my vice president for the chapter?" And number one, I couldn't turn him down because I have a lot of respect for our current president, is Rich Fika. But the other thing I said to him is, "Hey, look, I'm on the record on the BNI podcast as saying vice president is my favorite role on the leadership team. How can I possibly turn that down now when I've said it to Dr. Meisner?" So I am currently the vice president of BNI Referral Masters in Clearwater.
Well, condolences. I mean, congratulations. I think it's
I still do love the role. It still is one of my favorite roles on the leadership team.
Let me tell you something. I think it's one of the most important for sure. No question about it. It can make or break a successful chapter. Well, listen, Shawn, thank you so much for being on. Shawn's website is YESNERlaw.com, YesnerLaw.com. Shawn, thanks for being on BNI Podcast again. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the return invitation. I appreciate it.
Over to you, Priscilla.
Okay, perfect. I think that's it for this week. Thank you so much for that great information. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. These audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioPrograms.com and use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.